Alrighty there, everybody. Welcome back in Slaughterhouse Sports. Hope everybody is enjoying their weekend. We are close to Christmas time. It is December 16th edition of the show. And for the Huskers, they are getting their first batch of gifts, so to say. I mean, Dylan Rhule would obviously be what is in the stocking. The grand prize of all prizes is Dylan Rhule. But for Matt Rhule, this is huge. Daniel Kaelin stays committed to Nebraska. Again, he's very tight with Carter Nelson. He's really tight with, I believe, Grant Brix, who's a offensive tackle from Iowa. And I'm telling you guys, Grant Brix at 6'5", a very mobile tackle. He projects to be a really good tackle in college football and in the Big Ten Conference. So Daniel Kaelin was instrumental in putting together this 2024 Nebraska class. And there were rumors this week because Rhule went back into the picture. Okay, Kyle McCord was also on campus, but now Kyle McCord was out. There was a scenario in which Nebraska wasn't going to get any of these guys, the doomsday scenario. Rhule gets cold feet, and Daniel Kaelin was visiting East Lansing, Michigan. Daniel Kaelin was visiting Jonathan Smith. Daniel Kaelin was visiting the Spartans. Okay, that's what he was doing. Okay, and he was going to visit the Spartans, but then on Friday night, he's like, you know what? Lincoln is home. Nebraska is perfect for me, and I'm ready to stay in Lincoln, and I'm ready to be a Nebraska Cornhusker, and he stays committed to this class. An absolutely huge, monumental win for Nebraska. Daniel Kaelin, and watching him on tape, very strong quarterback. Again, you know, he's not even super thin as a pocket passer, meaning that he has some weight to him, all right, which is important because you're going to take hits by playing in the Big Ten. 6'4" with a large frame, and his throwing motion, he has a very repeatable and consistent throwing motion, throws it down at wide receivers, and has a very, very strong arm and can really throw it to each angle of the field. All right, so mobility might be a question in terms of his playmaking. There are quarterbacks that have, you know, better scrambling and better playmaking ability, but you give him a clean pocket and Daniel Kaelin will beat you. And then Daniel Kaelin, he's very accurate, and again, he has a huge arm and very repeatable, solid mechanics. I think if Kaelin was on this roster last year, he definitely would have started. And in fact, if Dylan Rhule, again, this would be awful if Dylan Rhule didn't commit to Nebraska. But if you're putting Kaelin against Chubba and you're putting Kaelin against Harburg, Kaelin should win that battle. I mean, Chubba Purdy loses the football just even carrying the ball. So Chubba Purdy still has that hitch in his release. Chubba Purdy might be accurate at this stage, but it's not even close to the arm strength of Daniel Kaelin. Now, Chubba and Heinrich are better athletes in terms of getting outside the pocket. Heinrich, a very good runner. Chubba can really run as well. But I'm telling you guys, like, Daniel Kaelin can be a really solid pocket passer in college football. So I think Daniel Kaelin, again, I really like Daniel Kaelin, the prospect. I think that he could turn into a top-flight quarterback, and this is huge for Nebraska. Huge. Because Daniel Kaelin has some ability to play and has some ability to play pretty early in this process. He stayed loyal to the process. And also, I'd be remiss to say this. Before Daniel Kaelin flew out to East Lansing, he did see that Aiden Childs officially committed to Michigan State. Now, Michigan State had nobody on their roster left at quarterback because Sam Leavitt, Arizona State, Noah Kim, Coastal Carolina, and Caden Hauser, East Carolina, all those quarterbacks ended up leaving on the quarterback carousel, so Jonathan Smith needs to fill in that position. Now, there happens to be a quarterback out of Illinois that is probably going to go to Michigan State that I really like, a 3-star quarterback that is a really great quarterback, kind of has a longer name, so I do forget the name, honestly. But Michigan State is going to be okay in this process. But really looking at Nebraska now and Matt Rhule, this is great. Daniel Kaelin stays. Okay, so then it turned into Kyle McCord versus Dylan Raiola, because it's not like Dylan chased off Daniel Kaelin. And Daniel Kaelin should be like, hey, at Michigan State, like with Aiden Childs, are you really going to start as a freshman anyway? And if worse comes to worse, like the good thing about the transfer portal, there's downsides to it in terms of fans getting attached to players, or in terms of, developing a player for a year and then watching them bounce to another program and getting poached. Yeah, that's a downside. But a positive is, if you're Daniel Kaelin, you stay at Nebraska, you stay with your friends for 1 or 2 years. There's more to life. I mean, football is really important, but this is also a lifestyle choice to be able to stay close to home, to be able to go to a great institution like Nebraska and be with these friends that you committed to. Plus, you kind of have the locker room right now. You do, if you're in a quarterback battle. And if worse comes to worse, you learn under Satterfield and Rhule, and your value should still be okay if you had to look elsewhere. But for Daniel Kaelin's sake, like, I hope it all works out for all parties involved. But overall, like, this is great for Nebraska. This is exciting for Daniel Kaelin. I believe it's the right move because you formed all these relationships. Matt Rhule was very transparent with you about the process of Dylan Raiola. You have to understand, that the kid Raiola is a legacy, and that he's also the top-rated quarterback in the entire country, so it shouldn't be an offense to you. You're a freshman anyway. You haven't gotten you there on campus, so you should embrace competition. And I guess it can be frustrating, but now you're locked into Nebraska, and you're locked in with this recruiting class. And so I really, really like the move by Daniel Kaelin here to stay with the Huskers. I really, really do. I think it is the smart decision to stay at Nebraska. And this is great for Nebraska and Matt Rhule. They now finally have a quarterback that they can build around. And in fact, how about this? If Kyle McCord was on your campus, but you did not have Daniel Kaelin or Dylan Raiola, that would also give you an unsettling feeling. But now you have somebody in the future that you can hopefully build around. So all the relationships paid off. You have a back plan now. But Raiola, tonight he attended the wrestling match, and tomorrow we might even get the news that he's committed to Nebraska. So we're going to be on the lookout all day, all night for that news. Guys, thank you for watching Slaughterhouse Sports.